Assalamu alaikum. Today it is Sunday, the 21st of March, 2021, and this is our series, All of the Messiah, and this is the 32nd broadcast in that series. The sub-series is Refuting Qadianis, and this is the 11th broadcast in that sub-series. And the topic is, we will show, just in one respect, how Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib Rahmatullah Alayh, the Mujaddid of the 14th century of Islamic Hijrah, how he refutes the beliefs of the Qadiani Jamaat. I just want to remind everyone that the Lahore Ahmadiyya community was established by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. And he taught us that the Holy Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet. Some people at that time, some people brought an old prophet to guide Muslims, but Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said, no prophet can come, because the Holy Prophet Muhammad was the last and final prophet. He said, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said, that he was the Mujaddid, the reformer of the 14th century of Hijrah. And the Holy Prophet had used the title Messiah and Mahdi for him, metaphorically. In fact, he said, maybe 10,000 Messiahs will come in Islam to guide Muslims as the need arises. And he stressed that the Holy Prophet Muhammad had said, if one reciter of the kalima says to another reciter that you are a heretic, then it is the caller, then it is the person saying it becomes heretic. So everyone who recites the kalima must regard every other reciter of the kalima as a Muslim. He also taught us that although some people say Ayah Rajam or Surah Walayat have been missed from the compilation of the Holy Quran, this is untrue. All the prophetic revelation that the angel Gabriel brought to the Holy Prophet Muhammad is with us in the form of the Holy Quran. Further, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said that people say parts of the Quran are abrogated, are cancelled. He said this is untrue. This is untrue. No part of the Holy Quran was, is, or ever shall be abrogated. The Quran is perfect and the Quran is complete. And he said that jihad is the duty of every Muslim. Jihad is of two kinds, internal and external. Internal jihad is the jihad against your own self, your own desires, your own bad desires, envy, jealousy, enmity, anger, not wanting to help the rest of humanity benefiting yourself at the cost of humanity. And the outward jihad is also a duty, but the needs of the time and place dictate what form that jihad will take. It may be a jihad with the sword, maybe a jihad with the pen. It may be a jihad by people traveling to different countries to propagate Islam. But that jihad will depend on what is required. It won't always be the jihad of the sword. Today's topic is how Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad himself refuted the beliefs of what is called the Qadiani Jamaat. So, to deal with that, let us first look at a book called The Truth About the Split. This book was written by Mirza Bashir Mahmud Ahmad Sahib, and I'm going to share its English translation. And the English translation has been done by the Qadiani Jamaat themselves. It's not our English translation or anyone else's English translation that people may say that this is not correct and so on. Unfortunately, I've just noticed that the title page has not been scanned. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is called, as I said, The Truth About the Split. And I hope you can see the full page here. Part 1. Refutation of Maulvi Muhammad Ali's account of Ahmadiyya descent. So this is Mian Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Sahib is refuting what Maulana Muhammad Ali said caused the division in the Ahmadiyya movement and caused the Qadiani Jamaat to leave the Ahmadiyya movement and form their own organization. And Mian Sahib says that, let me increase the size here. Mian Sahib says, Maulvi Muhammad Ali proceeds to describe the history of dissensions in the Ahmadiyya movement and endeavors to show how after the death of the promised Messiah, a certain conjunction of circumstances gradually led the present writer, this is Mian Mahmud Ahmad Sahib, to introduce changes in my formal beliefs. And he then says, these changes, according to Maulvi Muhammad Ali, relate to 3 matters. One, that I propagated the belief that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was actually a Nabi. This is the founder of the Qadiani Jamaat, Mian Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Sahib saying. So if Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib was actually a Nabi, then a prophet has come after the Holy Prophet Muhammad. This Mian Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad says, I propagated the belief that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was actually in fact, in reality, a Nabi, a prophet. Number two, the belief that he was the Ahmad spoken of in the prophecy of Jesus, referred to in the Holy Quran in 61:6. That's incorrect. That was a reference to the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And three, the belief that all those so-called Muslims who have not entered into his bath formally, wherever they may be, are kafirs and outside the pale of Islam, even though they may not have heard the name of the promised Messiah. So I want you to consider these words again. The belief that all those so-called Muslims who've not entered into his bath formally, wherever they may be, are kafirs and outside the pale of Islam, even though they may not have heard the name of the promised Messiah. That these beliefs have my full concurrence, I readily admit. Now when we speak to Qadianis, they say, everyone who recites the kalima is a Muslim. Why were we declared kafirs? Why were we declared out of fold of Islam? We never called anyone a kafir. We never call anyone a kafir. We say everyone who recites the kalima is a Muslim. Well, what is your founder saying? What is your founder saying? I've just showed you the book. He says that everyone who doesn't formally take the bath to join the Ahmadiyya movement is not a Muslim. He's a kafir and out of the fold of Islam. He calls Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad actually a prophet. So how do you reconcile these things? That is what I don't understand. Your founder clearly says, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, anyone who doesn't take his bath and oath of allegiance to him is a kafir and out of fold of Islam, even if he's not heard the name of the promised Messiah. Now let us look at what Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad says about this. And I won't just speak about that. What I will do is desperately trying to look for the quotation. Here we are. Yes. Let me share this with you. And you will see what Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad says. This is his book. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to translate that section. But the original Urdu is being displayed here. This is the name of the book, Haqiqatul Wahi. That says page 184. That says answers to some objections. So what I'm about to read out to you in English is an answer to some objections or raised by non-Ahmadis, those who weren't members of the Jamaat. And Hazrat Sahib says, and at the end, after mentioning some important matters, I end this composition. One is that Dr. Abdul Hakim Khan, in his publication Al-Masih al-Dajjal, etc., makes an accusation against me that I have written in my book that a person who does not believe in me, even though he is unaware of my name, and he is in a place where my call hasn't reached, even so, that person will be a heretic, a kafir, and will be consigned to hell. This is a complete fabrication by the above mentioned doctor. I have not written this in any book or any notification. It is his duty that he presents such a book of mine in which I have written thus. Remember, by mere cunningness, as is his habit, he has fabricated this lie against me. This is a matter that no rational thought can accept it. That anyone who's unaware of my name will be called to account. How can he be called to account? What did the founder of the Qadiani Jamaat say? Any so-called Muslim, even if he has not heard the name of the promised Messiah, and he lives in a country where the call of the promised Messiah hasn't arrived, is a kafir and out of the fold of Islam. This was an allegation made by the opponents of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam. That Mia Sahib says is his belief. What does Hazrat Sahib says? This is an absolute lie. This is a fabrication attributed to me. How can rational thinking accept that a person who's not even heard the name will be called to account for not accepting? So what Mia Sahib is saying is that Hazrat Sahib is wrong. Because Hazrat Sahib says this. He says, my opponents, my enemies attribute this claim to me. This is a lie. This is a fabrication. So the question then arises is, will the Qadiani Jamaat accept this writing of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam and denounce their so-called promised son for attributing fabrications? Because it's Hazrat Sahib who calls it a fabrication. by mere cunningness, as is his habit. He has attributed this falsehood, this lie to me. What Mia Sahib is saying, is his belief, Hazrat Sahib is saying, is a lie. And Hazrat Sahib's opponents attributed it to him. He denounces it, he rejects it. Now, you see, the other thing is that many Qadianis that I have spoken to and I have met and exchanged views on Facebook and so on, they look all innocent. They look all innocent. And they say, where are we at fault? What have we done? We don't say anyone is a kafir. We believe everyone who recites the kalima is a Muslim. Well, I invite the Qadiani Jamaat to come and pray behind me. Will they do it? Here is a challenge. And if they won't do it, why won't they do it? Your Khalifa is in London. I'll travel down to your mosque and lead any one of the prayers, because you say everyone who recites the kalima is a Muslim. So it should be okay. I don't call you kafir. And it has happened that they've come to our meetings and they've looked so sweet and embraced us and said, oh, you are our brothers, you are our brothers. And when at one meeting the Qadianis were doing that, I got up and I called out the azan. And they packed their bags and started to leave. I said, where are you going? I'm your brother. I'm going to lead the prayer. Are you not going to pray behind your brother? And they said, oh, no, we have to do something very important and I have to get there on time and so on. Something more important than namaz. They had to do something more important than namaz. And they left. This has not happened once. This has happened to us many, many times. So, here is a challenge to the Qadiani Jamaat. Take up the challenge. You have said that everyone who recites the kalima is a Muslim. Number one, are you now ready to denounce Mian Bashir Mahmud Ahmad for this statement that he made? That those who've not even heard the so-called Muslims, he says, if they not entered into the path of the promised Messiah, even if they've not heard his name, they are heretics. Do you denounce that statement, especially as Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib has denounced that statement? Come on, answer me. Mirza Masroor Ahmad Sahib, you're in UK, answer me. And secondly, I will come down to your masjid and lead you in prayer. Is that acceptable? Let's see how sincere you are in your beliefs and in your views. I wait your reply on YouTube, on Facebook, by email. You can email us on imam@lacommunity.uk. It's being scrolled across the bottom of the page. I know you will not do it. I know Mirza Nasrul Ahmad Sahib will not answer me, because they cannot answer us. They don't have two legs to stand on. They make their beliefs up as they go along. My challenge stands. But they will run away. They will never accept it. With a prayer that whoever you are and wherever you are, may Allah keep all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., we have our broadcast about the Holy Quran, the Dabbarul Quran in Urdu at 7 p.m. UK time. And at 7:30 p.m., the same lecture is repeated in English under the title Reflections of the Holy Quran. I hope you will join me then at that time. In the meantime, with the prayer that whoever you are, wherever you may be, may Allah keep everyone safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.